Hello, welcome back to the Spoonie Stitcher channel. I'm Shannon the Spoonie Stitcher. You're inside the stitchery. It's over there. And I'm so happy you're here today. I am recreating one of my first videos. So today we are doing the almost perfect color change. Now, I know you have seen this because it's gone kind of viral. It's a very old technique, and actually I was one of the first YouTubers to ever make a tutorial about it. So I am remaking that tutorial because when I first started my channel, I wasn't really good at making tutorials. So I thought that I should kind of make it better. One of the reasons I use this particular color change is because it is so clean. Look at that. Between the skin tone and the sweater, it is such a clean, crisp line. Now, this technique does take some getting used to. It looks very easy, but it actually does take practice because there are a few things that those other tutorials have left out that are very important for you to know. Now, I use this mainly on my tots and anything I make in the round. I also made Burial. This is my Broadway bear, and right here on her leg, you can see the exact same technique. Splitting her legging from her foot. One of the reasons that this technique is so useful is because it can be used on any kind of yarn. This is Just Chenille from Premier. This is Bernat Velvet. And Burial is made out of several kinds of blanket yarn. This is Frankenpoo. And for this particular pattern, I like the jagged coloring here because he's supposed to be Frankenstein inspired. So obviously, his color changes probably wouldn't be as neat because his clothes are, ragged and torn. So for this one, I use the back loop only color change. And it works out just fine for this. But imagine this, where his neck is. Yeah, that could look weird. Unless, of course, again, you're trying to make like a popper's clothing. It works perfectly. But this sweater is made very nicely from Mrs. Weasley. So that's why I like this particular color change. So if you would like to learn how to make a crisp color change like this and learn all of the secrets behind what you can do to make this even better, stay tuned. This is a tot shell. What is a tot shell? Well, this is a tot, and this is a tot shell. This is the beginnings of a tot, and it's just a little empty shell that I make hundreds of so that I can do tutorials like this. Now then, I'm going to flip it to the back. And the first thing we want to do is we want to change to the correct color. Now I've got a couple more stitches in this row, and I've taught you guys how to change color several times. This is one of my favorite ways, but you're welcome to change color any way you like, obviously. This tail is a little short to wrap around my finger, but that's okay. So I have got one more stitch in this row, and I'm just going to complete it like I normally would. Then I'm going to pull up on that loop just a little bit. Now, I am going to insert my hook into this front loop and the sidebar. And then I'm going to take my new color with the tail facing me and pull that underneath that loop right there. You see? And now we're going to continue. So, first step for making the almost perfect color change is we need to get this striping started. The first thing you have to do is you're going to slip stitch in this first stitch in the back loop only. So right here, this is a front loop, this is a back loop. Back loop only. Bring it through the loop and bring it through the original loop. Just like that. Want to see it again? Back loop only. Insert your hook. Bring it through this loop. And then immediately bring it through that loop. Now, an important tip. I am a very tight crocheter. So, this is important to all my tight crocheters and my non-tight crocheters. This row needs to be looser than your original tension. Why? Because you need this row. This row you are going to insert your hook into in the next round. Therefore, you need to be able to get your hook in those stitches, and if you do not loosen your tension, you won't be able to. So keep a slightly looser tension than you normally would just for this row. Otherwise, you won't be able to use it and you need it. So just do this all the way around and you can now pull the original color. See this loop? This is the tail. Pull. Nothing happened. Everything is fine. Everything is secure. You're good to go. And you can continue all the way around with this color change. Okay, this is the last stitch. You can tell because it's the only other color one. And slip stitch into that one. Now, why don't we just go into both loops in the next round? Well, let me show you why. That's why. We would have this jagged look, which again, if you're making a different kind of clothing, that could look cool. But it gets rid of our perfect stripe. Now watch. If we don't do that, if instead we decide to make a single crochet in the back loop of the slip stitch round, we keep our line. Isn't that interesting? So continue just making a single crochet in the back loop only of the previous round. And I will meet you right before the end because there is one step that you do not want to miss. Okay, you have one stitch left. Yes, you really do. It is very easy to miss this stitch because it looks like what they call the false stitch, but it's real and it's important. And if you miss this stitch, let me tell you what will happen. You will continue along, realize your stitch count is off, not figure out why until it's too late. And then you'll have to frog so much. I speak from experience. So don't miss this last stitch. And if you're not sure, count. You know how many you were supposed to have all the way around. Make sure you have that number. Also, don't miss your first stitch in your next row, right there. Look for the diagonal bar, and your stitch will be right above that. Now from here on, depending on your pattern, you probably can just continue as normal. But again, it depends on your pattern. The reason we do this is because it looks so clean and crisp. This is actually a very old technique. I do not remember the original name of it, so I have renamed it as the almost perfect color change because this little bar right here makes it slightly less than perfect, but we always put that in the back, so it's fine. And everything else about it, though, is very perfect. I love this technique. It's very, very old. I just do not know the name of it, and I have done so much research to try and find the name. Can't find it. But I know that there are millions of shorts right now that people are talking about this color change, and they're acting like it's a brand new thing, and it's not. So if you see any shorts about this, just know it's not new. It's very, very old. And I was actually one of the first YouTubers to ever make a tutorial about it. That was the first version of this, the 1.0, as it were. This is the 2.0, where I actually, I'm in the camera. But I thought it would be kind of fun to redo one of my old videos, especially because it needed it, because I am approaching my 1-year anniversary on YouTube. And so I thought redoing a couple of my old videos would be kind of fun. So I hope you liked this tutorial. If you learned something, leave me a comment down below and let me know, what do you think of this? Will you try it yourself? And have a great day. Remember, life happens, yarn helps, and spoonies can stitch it up too. Bye!